First Coast's most accurate forecast from the First Coast News Weather Team, certified by Weather Rate, sponsored by AC Designs.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Lewis Turner, Chief Meteorologist here at First Coast News. Hope you're having a good afternoon. Just me today, my colleague Ross Muma, who usually joins me for these 4:30 discussions, out and about today. So it'll just be me with you, and we got a lot to get to, though. So let's get right into the tropics. We're going to start there. I'm going to get back to the local forecast, talk about our chances of some showers and thunderstorms outside of tropical influence, which we have a couple of chances for. We've already seen today. Have some storms out there right now I'm going to look at, and then for Friday and Saturday as well. And then our focus turns to Sunday, Monday, and a little bit of Tuesday, with Monday kind of being, if you can envision a bell curve, right, as impacts kind of ramping up. Monday's the top of the bell curve. Sunday, maybe that ramp up. Monday, the top of the bell curve. Tuesday, the falling action. And we're going to go into what we know and what we are still uncertain about. And even the Hurricane Center themselves saying there's a lot of uncertainty in what's to come with the tropics. I've been kind of watching social media from our friends in Charleston as well as they monitor the coast of South Carolina. So what we know right now, main impacts. East of the First Coast, that'll be crossing our area. So we think lines of latitude and longitude. So 31 north, a beam of Jacksonville, Monday. All right, so that's when we'd see the worst of the impacts if current timing holds, but a lot can still happen. And we've got paths that take it from, something like 77 miles off our coast to 180 miles off our coast. So there's kind of a 100-mile swing right now until we get a true system that has developed in the Bahamas or around the Bahamas. Rough seas and surf, dangerous rip currents. All right, potential coastal erosion, potential for some nuisance coastal flooding on the high tides, things that actually we've seen with previous nor'easters over weeks past. And I want you to check in. We're doing more streams now, so of course we're here at 4:30 every day. We'll be here again tonight at 8 o'clock with the very latest numbers, and that's beyond the broadcast hours of 5, 6, and then 7 as well. So join us as you can, and I would say a good 2-a-day check-in on the tropics, a morning and an afternoon, is going to be the best thing to do right now as information comes in. So check in with us and do that maybe daily. We'll also have morning streams as well on First Coast News Plus. So always updating firstcoastnews.com as well. Here's the very latest information, and we're going to get more in. We expect, by 5 o'clock we'll get more information about specifically. We're saying goodbye to Gabrielle. We're not going to have much on Gabrielle. All right, it's a goner, although there are 3 things we're watching. Gabrielle's goner. We're talking Humberto and the 94L, the Invest, that is marked with the red X near San Juan, Puerto Rico. You see kind of San Juan there, but really over Hispaniola right now, so the Dominican Republic. Current belief and thought is that if the low develops north, and right now Hurricane Center kind of focusing north of Hispaniola. There are other potential as well, but we'll focus on what they're focusing on, and then that red area of high chance of development, and that's even within 48 hours. And with timing, you kind of need that development to happen as quick as possible so we can get good, accurate forecast tracks, especially for the southeast coast. You got to watch. So that whole red area is where that could eventually become a depression. I anticipate we get something known as a PTC, a potential tropical cyclone. We could get that as soon as this evening or tomorrow morning. And that's just kind of the precursor to actually getting a name, which would be, if things develop, Imelda. We'll watch that very carefully. But high chance over the next 48 hours we are going to have some sort of tropical system there, and things then begin to develop pretty quickly. There is Humberto. So forecast to become a major hurricane, a Category 3 hurricane as we get into Sunday morning. So Saturday night, Sunday morning, we can see this thing grow and kind of blow up a bit to that Category 3 storm, a strong storm with 120-mile-an-hour winds into Sunday and Monday. This is not the system we're really concerned about, though we do watch it because of the potential impacts it could have over that tropical wave near the Dominican Republic, Hispaniola, as you can see here. So this is tropical wave, still called Invest 94L. And as you kind of bear with me, I just continue to, I'm always refreshing what's going on at the National Hurricane Center and making sure they kind of dependent on them to make those official classifications, and that way we can update kind of intensity and track. But this is what we know right now. Just in that massive area, that massive tropical wave over Hispaniola, there's been measured 30-mile-an-hour winds. I will say we're getting more weather balloon releases here in Jacksonville and around the southeast, more per day. We're getting aircraft flying into these storms, dropping these sensors to get more data. That's just better for us and getting better computer modeling as a whole. The northwest motion of this system continues about 17 miles an hour, which will take it towards the Turks and Caicos and then ultimately the Bahamas as it does approach kind of getting near the east coast and southeast coast of Florida. So I want to take a look at a couple potential things, right? So and this is purely my forecasting. This is not official from the Hurricane Center. This is not an official track. So when you see these lines I'm going to draw, I want you to know this is just kind of my thought process by looking at the modeling and kind of looking at what model data would suggest is a worst case now and as well as a best case scenario. There are outliers to this. There's certainly the potential that this area of low pressure, where it develops, matters. So should it officially close off and become a tropical storm a little further to the west, maybe a little further south, then this track could be a little bit closer to the coast of Florida. Right now, the more eastern path, marked in red, would be some 75 to 80 miles off our coast. That closest path would occur Monday, so we'll watch Monday very carefully with winds ramping up and coastal impacts ramping up maybe Sunday evening. And that would lead to some greater coastal impacts with showers and those winds gusting 30 to even 40 mile an hour. That would be kind of your worst case scenario in the current computer modeling. Pretty good gusty winds, still subtropical force, tropical storm force as far as sustained winds, but seeing potential gusts. And that could also bring better chance of rain as we go into Monday as well. Now, what about the other option, the kind of more western path? So this still would, timing is still pretty consistent, closest to first coast come Monday, staying offshore some 180 to 200 miles. That would mean more minimal coastal impacts in terms of rain. Actually could have some drier air pulled in this scenario, meaning, if you're west of 95, Monday you may just be watching blue skies, similar to a condition we had when Aaron moved by several hundred miles offshore as a strong hurricane. But we could still feel those rip currents, dangerous rip currents come Monday, Sunday night, up into Monday and into Tuesday. We could still have those bigger kind of coastal impacts, large surf, big seas, and maybe some nuisance kind of coastal flooding as well. So let's go into the modeling. I want to go into kind of that forecast wind. So you see our two storms there. You see our low developing near the Bahamas. Approach towards Florida. That would be the resolution that would kind of take it maybe closer to 100 more miles offshore. So there is the kind of the yellow Monday morning building in. That would be winds of 20 to 25, upwards of 30. And you can see that lasting through the afternoon, maybe even strengthening a bit as we go closer to 30 miles an hour. But notice how it has its sights on Myrtle Beach, so that would be very close to the South Carolina-North Carolina border, more Myrtle Beach situation there. And then Tuesday, still dealing with those winds coming pretty strong now out of the north and northwest, but blowing offshore. So that actually may help with any coastal flooding impacts, actually helping push water away, but still be a pretty breezy day there with longer sets when it comes to the waves. And then you see further offshore Humberto. All right, let's look at some of the rainfall and the modeling. This is your European model. You see what would be a tropical storm there developed by, that would be Sunday afternoon. We've got ourselves a closed low that we're looking at the system more to the left on your screen. This could bring coastal showers as it crosses the Jacksonville latitude, so a beam of Jacksonville Monday morning, and then again, that's that Myrtle Beach kind of resolution there. Shifting now to what the GFS is showing us and kind of maybe a little different look as we get to Saturday, Sunday. All right, so Sunday afternoon near the Bahamas, dumping a lot of rain over the Bahamas, strong winds as well with tropical storm force strength here. And now we get into a strong tropical storm, a little bit closer to Florida and making a landfall in South Carolina closer to Charleston than Myrtle Beach. This would be Monday evening. So that's kind of the worst of our impacts Monday through the morning into the evening. And then those winds again will begin to shift out of the northwest come Monday night into Tuesday. And we'll watch kind of beyond that with the forecasting. All right, so more on the tropics after this short break. Please stay with us. All right, so glad you're still with us, and we will continue. We're going to talk tropics and local forecasts as well. So we do have a front coming through, and that is going to bump up our rain chances for Friday and for Saturday. So I'm watching carefully Friday's storm chances. Could have some strong storms pop off as we go through Friday afternoon, lingering into Saturday as well. That front, we were kind of watching that front potential helping drive these storms out and further to the east. And right now, as that modeling continues to show, we see that system passing us by Monday, as close as maybe 70 miles offshore, and that could lead to some coastal impacts as far as rain goes. Model comparison, I know I'm kind of beating the drum on this, but I just want to show you the kind of consistency with Euro and GFS right now. While there is a little difference, if you look to the circles on the left, all right, to the right, that's Humberto. To the left would be potential for Imelda, not named yet. So I'm not getting ahead of myself, but that would be the next name on the list. And pretty consistent with timing, not intensity. GFS has this a little bit stronger. That's the blue lines. Yellow lines being the Euro, and pretty consistent on track. This would be Monday passing Jacksonville, Tuesday well into the Carolinas. So that's what we're going to focus pretty intently on. Your computer models in spaghetti model form, if that's your favorite meal. Look at what Humberto is going to do. And we can see that pretty consistently tracking near Bermuda and strengthening to that major hurricane status. And here are the spaghetti plots. We've got some that are certainly a little bit further to the west, and we've got to watch for those outliers consistently taking this up to, I think, the most southern end for a potential landfall would be Savannah River, and most northern end you could certainly see maybe towards Wilmington, closer to the Outer Banks, but a lot of consensus right now is from Charleston to Myrtle Beach. need to watch this very carefully, and even into the Midlands of South Carolina. So we've talked about the likely paths. Again, I want to just wrap up with our headlines, just in case you're just joining us, and to sum it up nicely for you. Main impacts east of First Coast Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, highlighting Monday. All right, rough season surf, I think, is a given, but we're going to have to watch carefully, and I don't want this to sneak up on anybody, so we're going to watch this very carefully, checking in with us daily with frequent updates on First Coast News Plus if any adjustments happen with potential tracks. So there's a satellite look at that system, which they're both 800 some 50 miles apart. They're very, very close, which adds to a little bit of the uncertainty with computer modeling. Let's get into the here and now, though. Let's do a little weather closer to home, because we have had storms around the area today. Had some strong thunderstorms over St. Augustine Beach. Had a quick gust of 40 near the St. Johns River, crossing over from the west side into Mandarin and closer to San Jose, but most shower activity is now shifting a little bit further east. One shower we're watching towards Folkestone, not seeing any lightning picked up there, but may hear a rumble of thunder. For downtown, we got jumbo shrimp tonight. At this moment, showers have subsided. We'll watch a little bit later, closer to 7 o'clock, if anything pops, but so far we're looking pretty good as it comes to your jumbo shrimp evening. And and of course, they've got a win tonight, must-win situation. Big time stuff over at the ball field. So if you're coming downtown, that's exciting stuff. And then right now over Highway 1 and heading downtown St. Augustine, but now most of the energy from this was still getting those lightning pops, so you're still hearing those rumbles of thunder downtown St. Augustine, but a lot of this is now moved off Volano Beach. So a bigger kind of picture of the loop. This is the last couple of hours. You saw those kind of pops of lightning and the big rumbles of thunder kind of explode over I-95 for a period of time, about 3 o'clock. Then over Highway 1 downtown and out towards St. Augustine beaches, still getting some steady rainfall, but getting better here over the next 30 to 45 minutes or so. Now looking towards Flagler County, some stronger storms will be heading out towards Flagler Beach over the next 20 to 30 minutes. Heat's been the story the last couple of days. We've had near record heat. Today we're in those low 90s still, so even with that brief shower over Jacksonville, still in those low 90s. Waycross at 93 as well, so hot out there, muggy. Where we've had the rainfall, so NAS Jax having a little bit at 80 right now, Mayport at 84. So a little more reasonable in those areas. And when you factor in the dew point, how humid it is, we get the heat index and what it feels like. So we've got a heat index value of 98. But sharp contrast, you can tell where it rained over NAS Jax, that quick shower. They're at 84. Heat index value right now, 97 in both Brunswick and St. Simons. So let's look at the rest of the evening. Pretty good. I think modeling would suggest rainfall for the most part over downtown's coming to an end. Looking to Friday with that front coming in and the Gulf sea breeze and Atlantic sea breeze is meeting up a little bit further to the east. That would mean a 95 kind of squaring up. All right, so this would be between 4 and 6. We'll watch that commute very, very carefully. It's up and down 95, and that would be from Brunswick all the way through kind of your World Golf Village and Outlet Mall exits, and 295, goodness, all the way around. Going through the evening, we know it's Friday night football, all right? So we will watch for some rumbles of thunder. We'll listen for the thunder. We'll watch for that lightning about 7 o'clock, especially for our games in St. Johns County and south side of Duval in the beaches. And as far as southeast Georgia, I know we got some big games up towards Camden County, Glenn County. I know Brunswick High School has a big home game, Camden County as well. So take the ponchos with you for Friday night football. We'll have those lingering showers. We need the rain gear handy. Maybe not any delays as far as lightning, but certainly could be rainy. Your Friday rain chances, as we've talked about, kind of highlighted over that 95 corridor. That Gulf Coast breeze is driving back towards the east, meeting up with the Atlantic. So let's watch that commute with 91 degrees, muggy. I-95 storms after 3 p.m. I think is a good thing to watch. And notice your sunrise, 7:17, sunset, 7:17. How about that for some symmetry here now that we're truly into fall? Doesn't feel like it, but less and less daylight for you. And here's some football forecasts for you. We have a little lightning in from First Coast High School down and up to Brunswick. Have some showers in, maybe not full-blown washouts, but I do want you to have the rain gear handy and prepare for maybe a short delay for some of these games. Game of the week is Valdosta at Camden County. Notice we've had the Lightning in early. It is a 7:30 kick, and then that rain kind of lingering after kick, and maybe by the 8, 9 o'clock hour we'll be drying out just a bit. Jumbo Shrimp playoffs tonight, that 30% shower at 7 o'clock. We'll watch it, but I do think for the most part we're good for some baseball this evening. First pitch, 7:05 and a must-win. Nice breeze, muggy night as the Shrimp bring home the win and the International League Championship, we're hoping, with a dub tonight. So hopefully no delays with that. As we wake up in the morning, we're in the low 70s, not feeling too bad out there. And I'll wrap up with your 7-day forecast. So we know we got those rain chances for Friday, Saturday. We bumped those up because of the front coming, not tropically induced, not because of the tropics, but now we got to turn our attention Sunday, Monday, Tuesday for our best tropical chances of seeing some impacts, at least at our beaches. Notice how we bumped up those winds on Monday to 20-25, higher gusts. We may need to adjust that. Transparently, we will be making adjustments as more information comes in. We get better modeling data. Now, I'm going to see you at 5 o'clock, 5:30, 6. I'll see you again at 7, and we'll be streaming right here on First Coast News Plus at 8 o'clock with the very latest information from the Hurricane Center and the latest in the tropics. Thanks so much for being with us. I'll see you at 5.
The Fujiwara effect. It's an important meteorological term, especially when you're talking about two storms very close to each other, because what can happen is they sometimes can begin to orbit a common center, or maybe the bigger storm starts to eat up the smaller storm. This point is it makes the forecast extra difficult. Now, this is something that is not very common in the Atlantic, but common in the Western Pacific. And that's why back in the 1920s, a meteorologist by the name of Sakui Fujiwara was the first person to kind of notice this Pacific phenomena. Now, here in the Atlantic, we do see it. Last time we saw it was back in 2023. And more than often, the big storm eats the smaller storm. Basically, it absorbs it up. Or sometimes they can pinwheel around each other. And even in the most recent of instances with a couple tropical waves out here, they just make that forecast convoluted all over the place. And I think the point is, whenever you hear Fujiwara effect, don't take it as a sign that you're going to have two storms combined and become a big, massive storm, but also a sign that the forecast can be unpredictable. So the important thing is to continue to check back in for the latest updates. I'm meteorologist Robert Speta.